What's going on, guys? Your boy Maze. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over the brand new Queen Elizabeth, her actually versus the LR Elizabeth in Grand Cross, for which Elizabeth is going to be better overall in their respective content. So in this video, we're going to be going over both the characters' kits, and we're going to be discussing which one I think is going to be better depending on the content you are doing in Grand Cross. So let's hop into the video and let's discuss. Before we actually hop into the video, make sure to subscribe to your boy Amazing. We are on the road to the 40,000 subscribers. If you guys have not hit that subscribe button already, man, definitely make sure to. Your boy is literally like less than 700 subs away, guys. So let's definitely hit that subscribe button and get push me towards the 40k. With that out of the way, man, let's hop in and let's go over the kits. I have both the characters' kits pulled up on GC database, so we will actually talk about them there, and we'll discuss which one is going to be better depending on the content. All right, guys, so let's go over the Queen Elizabeth's kit first, and then we'll go over LR Liz, and then we'll discuss the reasonings for using either of the characters, and then where I think they're going to be excelling in. So this is the Queen Elizabeth right here, guys. For the Queen Elizabeth's passive right here, at the start of the battle, apply a light of intervention or intervention of light, which is going to be decreasing the attack related stats by 10%, and then if an enemy with this debuff has at least 3 ultimate move gauge or more, remove 1 when attacked. So it's actually going to be stripping some gauge on the enemy, and then increase the heroes all stats by 7% for each applicable ally on the battlefield, and for the applicable allies, it's going to be Goddess, Human, and 7 Deadly Sins. And then if we actually go back here, when the applicable ally uses an attack skill, apply Goddess Fury to this hero, and if Goddess Fury is fully stacked, when the hero uses a single target attack skill, remove all the stacks, cancel the enemy's stance, and stuns for 1 turn, right? So that's going to be the Queen Elizabeth's passive right there. It is very good passive, and this obviously works in all content in the game and is not restricted to anything in specifically, right? So that's definitely very good. For our first skill right here, Severe Punishment, guys, it's going to be triple pierce rate increase, and then for every Goddess Fury applied to the self, it's going to increase damage dealt by 20%. So this scales up obviously from 200, 300, 500%. And then for her second skill here, she's going to inflict rage damage, which is going to be kind of like a flood effect, but it's also going to have the Goddess Fury. When at max stacks, you get 50% damage dealt. So it's going to do 1% additional damage for every 1% of remaining HP, and then obviously the Goddess Fury max damage dealt, and it's going to go from 120, 180, and 300. And then, guys, for the ultimate on the Queen Elizabeth, she's going to increase attack related stats by a certain amount depending on the dupe level, and it's going to be for 2 turns. Inflicts damage to the equal to 500% of attack at 1 to 6 on all enemies, and grant intervention of light for 2 turns on the enemies. At the end of the ally's turn, if the hero is alive with 2 or more allies, the ally with the lowest percentage of remaining HP will be granted Goddess Protection for 1 turn up to 2 turns for the 1 to 6. And this obviously scales up with the higher the dupe level, and you get more Goddess Protection. And then the damage reduction as well is going to be scaling, as you don't get it at the 1 and 2 to 6. You get it from 3 all the way to 6 out of 6. And then obviously the damage and the attack related is also going to scale up. So that right there, guys, is the Queen Elizabeth. Let's move over to LR Liz and let's discuss what she has. So for LR Elizabeth's passive in PvE battles, allies basic stats increase by 6% up to 30% whenever the hero heals an ally. This is a very good effect, as in PvE battles, this means anything in PvE, including the demonic beast battles. And then for her other part of her passive right here, the hero's ultimate move gauge fills up by 1 orb whenever the hero uses a skill, and if the hero uses an attack skill, buffs are removed from the enemy before the skill activates. And then in all game modes, allies recovery rate will increase by 20% whenever the hero heals an ally. This can be a limit of 5 times, so you can get up to 100% recovery rate right there, which is going to be really, really good. So you get up to 30% basic stats in PvE, and then in all content, you're going to be able to get up to 100% recovery rate. So that is the passive right there for LR Liz. Now moving on to her skills, guys. For her first skill here, she's going to inflict flood damage, which is going to be 0.8% additional damage for every percent of remaining HP on self. She's also going to heal the allies based on the damage dealt, so it's going to heal all allies. So it's a full team-wide heal. So it's going to go from 30% of damage dealt to 40%, and then to 50% of damage dealt, with 143, 220, and 330 respectively on the actual card ranks for damage. And then for her second skill here, guys, she's going to have remove debuffs from all allies and increase defense related stats by 30% for 2 turns. And then at the rank 2, it's going to be 60% for 3. And then at the rank 3, it's going to remove debuffs from all allies, grant debuff immunity, and increase defense related stats by 100% for 3 turns as well. And then moving into the ultimate here, guys, depending on the dupe level as well, you will have a higher multiplier on the attack related stats. And honestly, this unit is a very similar effect as the other Elizabeth, where she gives attack related stats, but it's not just to herself herself, like the Queen Elizabeth, she actually gives it to the allies, and it's actually going to scale up. For you guys that don't know, the attack related stats will go from, I think, it's 5% at 1 to 6 all the way up to the 30%. So it's going to go, it's pretty much going to increase every 5% for every dupe level you get. So you can get up to 30% attack related stats, and then up to 630% of a heal, which is going to heal all allies, and then fill 2 orbs of ultimate move gauge right there. One more thing I forgot to mention about LR Liz is that she also has a holy relic here, which actually increases allies HP related stats by 15%, guys. This is a very good holy relic because it actually works from the back line or on the front line regardless of where you're using her. So this works on all the other regular Elizabeth units as well, and also the fact that you can pretty much use this in all content alongside the fact that you have, you know, the all game modes recovery rate. So you get, you know, 15% HP related stats with the recovery bonus for in all game modes. You have both of those things working in everything, and then you just have the 60% basic stats in PvE and the rest of the other stuff that comes with her PvE side of the things. So yeah, guys, that is the kit for both the characters. Now, which character are you going to be using on different contents in the game? In my opinion, guys, LR Elizabeth is still going to be the queen, you know, pun intended, for PvE, and the reason why is because she's going to be providing so much in PvE that Queen Elizabeth just cannot compete with, right? If you look at LR Elizabeth here, she's giving 30% basic stats whenever she's healing an ally, which, as you guys remember from her skill card right here, she's going to be able to heal allies very easily, as she's doing it from her attacking skill and also from her ultimate, which she can cycle very easily because of the ultimate move gauge filling, right? So she has that in her passive right there, and then also she's also going to be filling her own ultimate move gauge by 1 whenever she uses a skill, which is also going to coincide with the fact that she's, you know, ulting and then, you know, giving herself back the gauge. So if you ult and then use a 1 skill right after the ultimate, you're going to get your ultimate back with Liz again, and so you can cycle that ult continuously to just have like a ton of, you know, attack related stats for the allies, and then also the basic stats which you're going to build up very, very quickly as well to get up to max 30%. Another thing as well, guys, is she does also have buff removal in PvE, which is pretty clutch in some PvE content in the game. I know, you know, in Nidhogg it's going to be very, very important. In the Proof of Courage we just had, it was actually very good as well. So there's a lot of like end game PvE content that has a lot of like buffs on the enemies, which is going to be good because you can actually buff strip with Liz, and that's going to be another way to actually deal with that type of effect in PvE. And then, guys, another bonus about LR Liz as well is that even if you use her in other contents in the game, she's still going to give allies recovery rate increase by 20% up to 5 times, giving up to, what is that, 100% recovery rate, which I think is going to be a really substantial buff, because the recovery rate takes into account the Tarmiel link on your allies and also just started turn healing, which is going to be great, right? Because when you take damage on the Tarmiel link, your recovery rate is going to matter when you're actually healing up the damage from that Tarmiel link, and that's obviously going to be a really big benefit when having that for LR Liz. So yeah, I mean, LR Elizabeth, guys, is going to be the way to go for PvE content. She pretty much is just going to be a landslide victory against the Queen Elizabeth. Now, Queen Elizabeth, though, on the flip side, is going to be the way better Elizabeth for PvP, because the way Queen Elizabeth works for PvP is that she's going to have light intervention of light, which is going to allow her to, you know, strip the gauge on the enemies and also lower their attack-related stats. She also just has inherently more stats, which is going to be good. She has very strong skill effects as well. She has the triple pierce and then the damage from the Goddess Fury, which is built up by you know, having the allies attack and including her as well. She has a lot going for her in PvP, guys, which is going to be why you would want to run Queen Elizabeth in PvP versus, you know, LR Elizabeth for, like, you know, PvP, because she's only providing the recovery rate bonus, right? She's not going to be able to provide the basic stat bonuses, as all of this stuff from this sentence onwards is only going to be for PvE battles. This part right here is going to be for all game modes, but this is just for PvE. So because of that, Queen Elizabeth has a lot more going for her. She also has the, you know, removing all stacks of her Goddess Fury, canceling the enemy stance, and also stunning, which is really good when you're facing like characters like Albedo, you know, characters that auto taunt, right? They're going to be really good to remove, you know, like Queen Diane as well. So that's obviously going to be great. And then Elizabeth can be used on a lot more teams, right? She has Goddess, Human, and 7 Deadly Sins, whereas this Elizabeth right here, she can be used on any team as well, but she benefits the most on a Goddess variant team because the Goddess team just has so much basic stats, and you can combo that with, you know, this Elizabeth being able to do that, right? Which is definitely a good effect. I think the one thing that this Elizabeth might have over the Queen Elizabeth is that she can heal the allies. You know, that is one definitely thing she has, and her ultimate also can be a very nice support, because she's going to be able to give attack related stats while providing the healing, which can definitely be a fairly good bonus when running this character. But overall, though, you know, Queen Elizabeth is going to be providing more because she gives you, you know, she's going to have the Goddess Fury damage, she's going to have the stun, and then not even to mention all the stuff from her ultimate ultimate, the higher the dupe level you have, you know, you're gonna have higher more turns of goddess protection, which means you have revive on allies, you have damage reduction on allies depending on your dupes, you have attack related stats for herself, which is gonna be really good. So yeah, I mean, it obviously depends on like the content you're doing, guys, but overall though, if I had to pick like which character I'm using for which content, LR Liz is gonna be way better than Queen Elizabeth in PvE. It's just a given, man. You know, it makes sense that this character is going to be better than, you know, Queen Elizabeth for PvE, because she was tailor-made for PvE content. In her passive, it literally states that in PvE, you know, in PvE battles, she gets a bonus, and right, she's an LR, so she has to be like really, really good in PvE. And even after this Queen Elizabeth releasing, this Elizabeth is still going to be better on Nidhogg, is still going to be better on Skull and Hottie, still going to be better on all these other, you know, super difficult PvE content in the game. So you definitely want to use Elizabeth in that sense. But then when you're using Queen Elizabeth, you want to use her in PvP because she's going to provide more in that she's dealing a lot of damage. She has the revive, she has the, you know, the stun, the cancel stance, right? So there's just a lot of utility with this Elizabeth and damage that she provides that I think is going to be a lot better than this Elizabeth necessarily, because she's not doing, you know, too much in PvP other than healing, which, you know, the goddess team does need a little bit of healing, I would say. I think they lack a little bit, but they're more of a DPS oriented team after this Queen Elizabeth in PvP, so they don't necessarily need it if they're going to be dealing with the enemies fairly quickly. So yeah, man, that's pretty much my take, guys, on the Queen Elizabeth versus LR Elizabeth's you know, kind of discussion right here. I do think that LR Elizabeth is going to be better for PvE, which is a given, and then Queen Elizabeth is going to be a better PvP character, right? It just makes a lot more sense. Both characters were designed for specific things in mind. It looks like Queen Elizabeth was definitely designed for, you know, PvP in mind, whereas obviously LR Elizabeth was designed for PvE in mind. So, you know, pick what you're going to be using for which content, guys. If you're using you know, LR Liz, you're going to be doing PvE. If you're using Queen Elizabeth, you're going to be doing PvP. But that's pretty much the TLDR, man. So I hope you guys do enjoy the video, man. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video, man. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.